if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Hey, it is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and I'm pretty sure that he would not have supported DEI without some caveats. Why? Because it discriminates against straight men.
Welcome aboard, folks. We are very proud to share that your pilot is the most diverse pilot on record. She is a 3'2" transgender pansexual Native American man who identifies as a 6-foot-tall Korean woman. Any volunteers to help reach the controls are welcome. You will want to buckle up as her epilepsy is often triggered by the flashing lights in the cockpit. Remember to keep a whisper volume level as she may have to consult instructional videos as a refresher during the flight. Now, can we get a big cheer for diversity?
Wait a second. This wasn't about diversity as much as it was about equity, and only qualified people should get the job, not people just because they're different. Just as Churchill said, America always does the right thing after it's tried everything else. And when the armed forces finally gave into diversity, the tide of World War II completely changed. Because up until the Tuskegee Airmen were allowed to fly, Hitler was winning the war. So when everything else fails, let the black guys try.
What do you have to lose by trying something new? What do you have to lose?
It's March the 24th, 1945, and high over Germany, P-51D Mustangs, piloted by Tuskegee Airmen from the 332nd Fighter Group, escort heavy bombers that are en route to Berlin. Nearly 1,000 miles from their base in Ramitelli, Italy, it's the longest mission of the war for the Red Tails, aptly named for the distinct crimson paint covering their elevators, rudders, and rear fuselages. These airmen have experienced racial discrimination from ground crews, other pilots, and senior Air Corps brass, many of which considered them unworthy and unfit to do the jobs they'd been assigned to do. But these young men are determined to do their duty and to prove the doubters wrong, spectacularly so. Scanning the sky for unfriendly company, 23-year-old flight leader Captain Roscoe Brown sees telltale contrail plumes above and to his left, alerting him that enemy aircraft are approaching. Instinctively, he barks a command to the airmen around him. "Drop your tanks and follow me." On cue, 2nd Lieutenant Charles Brantley and 1st Lieutenant Earl Lane jettison the 110-gallon fuel tanks affixed to the hardpoints under their wings. After jettisoning the tanks, the Mustangs are lighter and nimbler. They'll need these advantages if they're to have any chance of surviving the impending encounter with the more than 24 Messerschmitt Me-262s streaming towards them at nearly 500 miles per hour. From JG-7 in Brandenburg, the 262s are the Germans' twin-engined, jet-powered wonder weapons. They're faster, better armed, and more advanced than the American piston-engine fighters. And as far as their German pilots are concerned, they are the master race who will bring victory on this day. Moments later, in a chaotic mismatch of hissing jets and roaring Mustangs, aviators maneuver for clean shots at their adversaries. Early on in the engagement, it's a stalemate, until 10-kill Luftwaffe ace Lieutenant Colonel Franz Kulp singles Brown's Mustang out of the crowd and accelerates towards him. When he sees Kulp, Brown is just more than half a mile away, and he knows that outrunning the 262 is impossible. Instead, he quickly shoves the throttle forward, sending fuel into each of the Packard Merlin's 12 cylinders. It responds with a deafening roar as nearly 1,500 horsepower surge through the crankshaft to the massive four-bladed propeller. Powered up, Brown turns into Culp's aircraft to negate its speed advantage. Now he's at 8 o'clock to Culp's 12, and the unlikely opponents are hurtling towards one another at a combined speed of over 1,000 miles per hour. Brown squeezes off 3 long bursts from the 6 50 caliber machine guns in his wings, peppering the starboard side of Culp's jet. Almost immediately, flames burst from the stricken 262, and large chunks of fuselage fly into the air. Inside his cockpit, filling with smoke and the flight controls unresponsive to his commands, the wounded ace pops the canopy and bails out. Next, it's Second Lieutenant Brantley's turn to make history. Not one to be outdone, he circles the periphery of the melee, waiting for a lone 262 to wander into his path. And it's not long before one piloted by another ace, Oberleutnant Ernst Werner, does just that. But this engagement is over even quicker than Brown's. Outmaneuvering the more experienced pilot flying the technically superior aircraft, Brantley fills the jet with 50 caliber rounds, killing Werner and becoming the second black pilot of the day to engage and shoot down a vaunted Me-262. And the skirmish was far from over. Using his exceptional eyesight, First Lieutenant Lane spots a single 262 that's broken from the pack 2,000 yards away. At its controls is Lieutenant Alfred Ames, with 7 confirmed kills under his belt. Instinctively, Lane yanks the Mustang's stick to the left, then back, tugging the machine into a tight turn. Straining to keep the fast German plane in view as it speeds away, both man and machine are nearing their limits. In addition to sheer strength and the Mustang's maneuverability, Lane relies on a new K-14 lead computing gun sight to get his bullets on target. At such speed and range, he'll have to fire well ahead of the shark-shaped jet, rocketing through the sky. The 262's distinct silhouette is barely in his gun sight, but hoping the spanking new gadget works as promised, he squeezes the trigger, unleashing 3 short bursts. Tracer rounds stream through the sky in great sweeping arcs, and fractions of a second later, the 262 is going down, and fast. Diving, Lane watches it crash into the fatherland before being engulfed in a puff of coal grey smoke.
It was in this way, and through numerous dogfights, that the all-black Tuskegee Airmen safely escorted the bombers to their destination, where they took out Hitler's tank manufacturing capability, which changed the tide of the war. It's in this way that we know that diversity is a good thing, because the Tuskegee Airmen were only there because the white pilots were afraid to take on the Germans' superior Air Force. So yeah, diversity matters, and it's a good thing. So thank God for the HBCUs that train these great pilots. Otherwise, Hitler would have won the war. Israel, can you hear us now? So Elon Musk and Mark Cuban can definitely benefit from this new knowledge. DEI is bad unless it includes straight men, which makes it inclusive, which is definitely something Dr. King would be proud of and stand for today.
Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Yeah, me too. And everyone else who's a beneficiary of DEI, which, by the way, can't be racist, because it discriminates against straight black men, too. The same thing goes for straight white men. And if all things are equal, that's the only time the decision should be made based on identity. Otherwise, let the best person get the job to make it fair and inclusive, because some of us actually have been disadvantaged, but we still rose above. Don't believe me? Check out the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen.